Alright children, welcome back. Today we're still talking about aggregate supply and aggregate demand, but now we're going to merge the two curves and make an actual graph here so we can measure changes in prices and changes in output. So remember, aggregate demand is going to be your downward sloping curve, aggregate supply is your upward sloping curve. Aggregate demand is everything that is bought in an economy in a year. So again, CIGX. Aggregate supply is everything that's made in an economy in a given year. And we also need to keep in mind a shift to the left. Shift left is a decrease. Shift right is an increase. Okay, so first and foremost, remember we're measuring our price level, aka our inflation rate, and our real GDP, aka our output. So first thing we gotta do is put our equilibrium price level, and we're just gonna call this PL1. This is our current price level. This is the inflation rate that we're starting at. Down here, this is our current output. This will be our actual output, and we're gonna label this Y1. The Y is there because Y actually stands for income. So remember, our real GDP is also called our real output, so the amount of stuff we're making or producing, and our real income, the amount of money that people are taking home. Because remember, one person's purchasing, one person's buying of goods and services is another person's income. So this is where our real GDP starts. It's Y1, Y for income. I was already taken for interest rate. Okay, so what we're gonna do then, we're going to go through a couple example problems just to give an idea of how this thing works. So let's look at number 4. Alright, so number 4. Many consumers are expecting there to be a recession next year. And so they've decided that they're going to stop spending money because they're afraid that they're going to lose their jobs. Funny thing in economics, if you think something's going to happen and act accordingly, you're literally going to cause that thing to happen. So if consumers are afraid that they're going to lose their job next year because they think a recession's coming, they're going to stop spending money. Aggregate demand is made up of CIGX, C being consumption spending. If consumers stop spending money, aggregate demand is going to decrease and shift to the left. We're going to put 81 so we can show that that happened. We had a decrease. We're showing a leftward arrow showing that that curve shifted to the left so that if I just look at this, I can tell what's going on. Our price level is going to be PL2. We're going to show a downward arrow because our inflation is decreasing. Price level is coming down, and our real GDP has decreased. So our real income or real GDP is now lower than it used to be. So now remember, if real GDP is decreasing, if our production is decreasing, then unemployment is going up because our real GDP and unemployment rate are inversely related. As we start making less stuff, well, businesses don't need as many workers, unemployment goes up. All right, let's move on. All right, let's look at number 7 now. Number 7, Canada, a U.S. trading partner, a major U.S. trading partner, we're next door neighbors, we trade. Canada is experiencing higher inflation rates than the United States. So if Canada's prices are going up higher than ours, this is going to be affecting net exports. If their prices are higher than ours, we're not going to go buy any of their stuff. So we're going to stop buying Canadian goods, so our imports are going to be decreasing. And Canadians are going to turn around and they're going to want to buy stuff from us because our prices feel comparatively lower. And so our net exports is going to be increasing as our exports to Canada increase and our imports from Canada decrease. So net exports increase. If any of these things increase, your aggregate demand is going to increase and shift to the right. Aggregate demand goes up. Showing a rightward arrow, showing that we had an increase. Our price level has increased as well. We are experiencing inflation. So Canada's prices being higher has caused our prices to go higher. They've driven our prices up by coming over and buying all of our stuff. And then our real GDP is going to increase. So our output is increasing, and at the same time, that also means that our real income is increasing. We are getting more money. More money is going home. And part of the reason for that is that our real GDP is increasing, so our unemployment rate is going down. More people are earning money, income is increasing. All right, next we're going to do number 8. Number 8 says that nominal wages are decreasing. So remember, income affects aggregate demand. Nominal wages is what businesses have to pay people to do work. So this is an input price. If wages are increasing, that means that businesses won't have as much money to buy resources, or maybe they'll have to fire some of the people that they have so that they can afford the increase in wages. So if wages go up, businesses are probably going to let some people go. That's going to make it harder to produce. So aggregate supply is going to end up shifting to the left. Remember, when you're doing this, you need to ask, to figure out if it's aggregate demand or aggregate supply, you need to ask, does this make us want to buy more or less? Or does this make it easier or harder to produce? So aggregate supply decreases and shifts to the left. Remember, we do not say that it goes up or down in this class, because let's say that this is a decrease in aggregate supply. Let's say that you said aggregate supply went down and you put your new aggregate supply curve over here because it's down. Well, that's actually showing an increase, and so you're not showing what you think you're showing. You need to make sure you're saying either increase or decrease. It doesn't go down in here, children. This is not the DMs. Aggregate supply shifts to the left. It's a decrease in aggregate supply. Price level has gone up. And real GDP decreases. So our price level is higher. Prices have increased, but our real GDP is decreased. So our real income is down, and because real GDP is decreasing, unemployment is going up. All right, we'll do one more. Finally, I want to look at number 9. This one is talking about Japan. Japan, who's a major trading partner of the United States, is in a deep recession. Okay, they're a trading partner, they're in a recession. Is that going to affect aggregate supply or aggregate demand? Well, I don't see how that's going to make it easier or harder to make anything, since a country across the world is in a recession. So I think it might affect aggregate demand. This will affect our exports. If Japan is in a recession and they are one of our major trade partners, are they going to be buying more or less stuff from us if people have been losing their jobs? They're going to buy less stuff from us, and if they're buying less stuff from us, then our net exports are decreasing. And if our net exports decrease, that means aggregate demand, which is made up of C, I, G, and X, is going to decrease and shift to the left. Now, we are experiencing a decrease in price, so inflation is decreasing, but our unemployment rate is increasing as our real GDP is decreasing. That's going to decrease our real income. So, international trade, important. If our friends are suffering from a recession, it's probably going to get to us too, because they're not going to buy our stuff, and we're very interdependent on each other at this point. All right, try to work on the rest of those on your own. We'll go over it later.